Imagine you are walking down a quiet street, the sun setting in the distance. The cool breeze touches your skin, and for a moment, everything feels peaceful. But suddenly, your mind drifts. You start thinking about that mistake you made last week, or worrying about tomorrow's responsibilities. The moment of peace is gone, replaced by stress, anxiety, and endless overthinking. Why does this happen? Why is it so hard to just stay in the present? We live in a world full of distractions. Our minds are constantly pulled between the past and the future. Regrets weigh us down. Worries keep us awake at night. But what if you could free yourself from this endless cycle? What if there was a way to truly live in the now, without stress, without fear? Think about your daily life. How often do you find yourself lost in thought, replaying old conversations or planning future ones? How many moments have you missed because your mind was somewhere else? Have you ever wondered how much happiness is slipping away simply because you're not fully present? Let's take a simple example. Imagine eating your favorite meal. The flavors, the textures, the warmth, it should be an enjoyable experience. But instead, you're scrolling through your phone, worrying about work, or thinking about something someone said earlier. You finish eating, but did you really taste the food? Or was your mind too busy to notice? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we uncover powerful Buddhist insights to help you overcome stress and anxiety. Today, we begin a journey that will transform the way you experience life. If you've ever felt trapped by your thoughts, struggling with stress, or searching for inner peace, this video is for you. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people subscribe. So please, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. In Buddhism, the present moment is everything. But most of us live anywhere but here. Our minds cling to the past, fearing what's ahead. This is the root of anxiety. The Buddha taught that true peace is found only in the present moment. But how do we get there? How do we train our minds to let go of stress and embrace the now? Many people think living in the present means ignoring the past and future, but that's not true. Buddhism doesn't ask you to forget responsibilities or stop planning. Instead, it teaches you how to exist fully in each moment without being controlled by worry or regret. You can still learn from the past. You can still prepare for the future, but you don't have to suffer because of them. The mind is like a river. Thoughts keep flowing, pulling us in different directions. But imagine if you could stand on the riverbank, watching the water pass by, instead of being swept away by it. That is the power of mindfulness. That is the key to overcoming anxiety. In this series, we will explore 7 Buddhist practices that will help you find inner peace. Each practice is simple yet powerful. You don't need to change your life completely. You just need to shift the way you see it. Buddhism teaches that everything is temporary. Your stress, your fears, even your thoughts. When you understand this, you stop holding on so tightly. You stop fearing change. And that's when true peace begins. Right now, take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Listen to the sounds around you. For just this moment, let go of everything else. This is the beginning of your journey toward living in the now. Mindfulness, the art of observing without judging. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen. What do you hear? Maybe the distant sound of a car passing by, the ticking of a clock, the wind moving through the trees. These sounds have always been there, but maybe you never noticed them before. Why? Because your mind is always somewhere else. Always thinking, always judging, always lost in the past or the future. This is what keeps you trapped in stress and anxiety. Your mind is like a restless monkey, jumping from one thought to another, never stopping, never resting. It worries about tomorrow, replays yesterday, and never lets you simply be in the moment. But what if you could change this? What if you could train your mind to be still, to observe, to experience life fully? Buddhism teaches that the secret to peace lies in mindfulness. Mindfulness means being completely present, fully aware of what is happening right now, without getting lost in thoughts or judgments. It is the art of seeing things as they are, without labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. It is learning to watch your thoughts without being controlled by them. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow. You see leaves floating past. Some are beautiful, fresh, and gray. Others are old, brown, and withered. But you don't jump into the river to chase the green leaves, and you don't try to push the brown ones away. You just watch. This is mindfulness. Your thoughts are like those leaves. Some are pleasant, some are painful, but you don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to fight them. You can just observe them and let them pass. Right now, you might feel trapped by your thoughts. Maybe they keep repeating the same worries. Maybe they make you feel small, afraid, uncertain. But the truth is, thoughts are not reality. They are just passing clouds in the sky of your mind. They come and go, but they do not define you. Mindfulness helps you step back and see this truth. Think about the last time you were truly present. Maybe it was while watching the sunset, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. Maybe it was while listening to music, completely lost in the melody. In those moments, there were no worries, no fears, just presence. That is the power of mindfulness. But the problem is, we don't live like this all the time. Instead, we live on autopilot. We eat without tasting. We listen without hearing. We exist without truly living. Our minds are always elsewhere, and because of that, we miss the beauty of life. Have you ever walked down the same street hundreds of times, but one day, you notice a tree or a flower as if seeing it for the first time? It was always there, but you were too lost in thought to see it. This is what mindfulness brings back: the ability to see, to feel, to truly experience life. Many people think mindfulness is difficult, but it is actually the simplest thing in the world. It doesn't require any special skills or deep knowledge. You don't need to meditate for hours or go to a temple. You just need to wake up to the present moment. Try this right now. Take a deep breath. Feel the air as it moves through your nose. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. For just a few seconds, do nothing else but breathe. That is mindfulness. That is being present. The more you practice this, the more you will realize how often your mind pulls you away. It might tell you, "This is boring," or "I don't have time for this." But that is just another thought. You don't have to believe it. You can simply notice it and let it go. Mindfulness teaches you that thoughts and emotions are not permanent. They are visitors, not your masters. Imagine you are sitting in a room, and thoughts are like guests coming in and out. Some are loud and demanding. Some are quiet and peaceful. But you are not the guests. You are the room. You do not have to obey every thought that enters. You can simply observe, without getting attached. This is what frees you from stress and anxiety. You stop fighting your thoughts. You stop getting lost in them. You learn to watch them come and go, just like the waves of the ocean. At first, this may seem difficult. The mind is used to running, to clinging, to resisting. But with practice, mindfulness becomes second nature. And when it does, you will find a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. Stress comes from wanting things to be different than they are. Anxiety comes from fearing what might happen next. But when you are mindful, you accept this moment as it is. You stop wishing the past were different. You stop fearing the future. You just experience what is, right now. A Zen story tells of a monk who was chased by a tiger. He ran until he reached the edge of a cliff. Below him was another tiger. He was trapped. Then he saw a strawberry plant growing from the side of the cliff. He plucked a strawberry, put it in his mouth, and said, "How delicious." This is mindfulness. Even in the middle of chaos, even when life is uncertain, you can still taste the sweetness of the present moment. You can still find peace in the now. So, as you go about your day, remember this: your mind will wander. That's okay. Just bring it back. Again and again, return to the present. Notice the colors around you. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Hear the sounds that have always been there. This is how you take back control. Mindfulness is not about escaping reality. It is about fully living it. It is not about emptying your mind. It is about seeing clearly. And when you do, stress and anxiety lose their power. Start small. The next time you drink water, taste it fully. The next time you walk, feel each step. The next time you listen, truly listen. And little by little, mindfulness will become a way of life. A life free from the chains of the past and the fears of the future. A life fully lived, right here, right now. Impermanence, embracing change to ease anxiety. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about everything in your life right now. Your home, your loved ones, your dreams, your worries. Now, think about the past. Was everything the same 5 years ago? 10 years ago? Of course not. Everything changes. Yet, we resist change. We hold on to what is familiar. We fear losing what we love. We dread the unknown. And this resistance, this clinging, is what creates anxiety. But what if I told you that change itself is not the cause of suffering? It is our refusal to accept it that brings pain. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same, not even for a moment. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, the world around you. Everything is in a constant state of change. Yet, we act as if things should stay still. We want happiness to last forever. We want people to never leave. We want life to follow our plans. But life does not obey our desires. Life moves like a river, always flowing, never stopping. Imagine a tree in the middle of a storm. The strong, rigid branches break under the wind, but the flexible branches bend and sway, moving with the storm. When the storm passes, they are still standing. This is the wisdom of impermanence. If you resist change, you break. If you move with it, you survive. Think about your own life. Have you ever been through a difficult time, thinking it would never end? Yet, here you are. That moment passed. The pain faded. The situation changed. It always does. But in the middle of the storm, we forget this. We believe that our suffering is permanent. We tell ourselves, I will always feel this way. But nothing stays forever. Not happiness. Not sadness. Not fear. Have you ever held on to a moment, wishing it would never end? A beautiful evening with a loved one, a peaceful walk in nature, a time when everything felt perfect? But no matter how much you wanted to freeze that moment, it slipped away. This is the nature of life. Every moment is passing, whether we like it or not. Now, think about the things that stress you. Deadlines, financial struggles, conflicts, uncertainty about the future. Will they last forever? No. Just as happy moments pass, so do painful ones. The problem is, we don't accept this truth when we are suffering. We resist. We fight. And that fight creates more suffering than the situation itself. Imagine you are holding a rope tied to a heavy rock. You don't want to let go, even though it's weighing you down. Your arms hurt. Your body is exhausted. But still, you hold on because you're afraid of what will happen if you let go. But here's the truth. The moment you release it, the pain stops. The weight disappears. This is what happens when we accept impermanence. We let go of the struggle. We stop trying to hold on to things that are meant to change. You might be thinking, but if everything is temporary, doesn't that make life meaningless? No. It makes life precious. Imagine if you knew you had only one day left to live. Would you waste it worrying? Or would you savor every moment, appreciating the beauty around you? Impermanence doesn't take meaning away from life. It gives it meaning. When you truly understand impermanence, you stop taking things for granted. You appreciate people while they are with you, instead of regretting their absence later. You enjoy experiences fully, without trying to cling to them. You stop fearing change, because you know that just as difficulties come, they also go. Think about the waves in the ocean. They rise. They fall. Some are small. Some are big. But none of them stay. Life is the same. Your emotions, your thoughts, your circumstances, they all come and go like waves. When you accept this, you stop fighting against the tide. You learn to ride the waves instead of drowning in them. A common source of stress is the fear of losing what we have. We fear losing our jobs, our relationships, our security. But this fear is based on an illusion, the illusion that we can control life. The truth is, no matter how tightly we hold on, life moves forward. The only thing we can control is how we respond to it. If you look at nature, you will see the lesson of impermanence everywhere. The seasons change. Flowers bloom, then wither. Rivers carve through mountains over time. Nothing is fixed. Yet, nature does not resist. A tree does not fight the wind. A river does not argue with the rocks in its path. They simply adapt. And in doing so, they survive and grow. So, how can we embrace impermanence in our daily lives? We start by becoming aware. The next time you feel anxious about something changing, pause. Remind yourself, this too shall pass. If you are feeling overwhelmed by stress, ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? 5 years from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Another practice is gratitude. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you start to appreciate things more. You stop rushing through life, always chasing the next thing. You slow down. You notice the small joys, a kind word, a moment of peace, the warmth of the sun on your face. And in that awareness, stress fades. Impermanence also teaches us to be kinder to ourselves. Many of us hold on to mistakes, punishing ourselves for things we cannot change. But if everything is temporary, then so is the past. You are not the same person you were yesterday. You have grown. You have learned. Let go of the past, just as you let go of the future. Be here, now. Imagine a snowflake landing on your head. It is delicate, unique, beautiful. But if you try to hold on to it tightly, it melts. This is life. It is precious, but it cannot be grasped. The more you try to hold on, the more it slips away. But if you simply experience it, moment by moment, you will find peace. The Buddha once said, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is the key to freedom. When you stop clinging, when you stop fearing change, when you embrace the now, this is when you truly start living. So, take a deep breath. Feel this moment. Let go of the past. Stop worrying about the future. Be here, right now, because this moment, too, will pass. And that is what makes it so beautiful. Detachment, releasing control for inner peace. You are holding a rope, pulling as hard as you can. On the other end, something is pulling back. You don't want to let go. You think if you just pull harder, you will win. But the more you pull, the more it hurts. The rope burns your hands. The tension drains your energy. Still, you hold on. Why? Because letting go feels like losing. This is how most people live their lives, gripping tightly to things they cannot control. They hold on to the past, afraid to release old memories. They cling to expectations, terrified of change. They try to control people, outcomes, the future. But no matter how hard they try, life does not obey them. The more they resist, the more they suffer. Detachment does not mean not caring. It does not mean giving up. It means understanding that you cannot control everything and finding peace in that truth. Imagine you are sitting by a river. The water flows endlessly, carrying leaves and twigs downstream. You watch them pass. Some leaves are beautiful, golden, and bright. Others are broken, dark, and old. But you do not chase them. You do not try to stop them. You simply watch, knowing that everything in the river is meant to move. Life is the same. Everything comes and goes. Thoughts, emotions, people, experiences, they are all flowing, like the river. If you try to hold on to them, you will struggle. But if you let them pass, you will be free. Many people misunderstand detachment. They think it means pushing people away, rejecting emotions, or becoming cold. But true detachment is warm, peaceful, and full of love. It means accepting life as it is, instead of how you wish it to be. Have you ever noticed that the more you chase happiness, the more it seems to slip away? The more you fear sadness, the more it haunts you? This is because attachment creates fear. When you attach yourself to something, you start to fear losing it. And fear leads to suffering. Think about a time when you were deeply attached to an idea of how something should be. Maybe it was a relationship. You wanted it to last forever. You imagined a perfect future. But then, things changed. The person changed. Or maybe you changed. And instead of accepting it, you resisted. You fought to hold on. But in the end, the harder you held on, the more painful it became. Now, imagine if you had approached it differently. Instead of clinging, you accepted. Instead of resisting change, you flowed with it. Would the pain have been the same? Would the suffering have lasted as long? Detachment is freedom. It is seeing beauty in the present without fearing its loss. It is loving fully without needing to possess. It is working hard without being obsessed with results. It is enjoying life without being controlled by desire. Buddha once said, the root of suffering is attachment. Not because love, ambition, or joy are bad, but because the way we cling to them creates suffering. When we hold on to things too tightly, we forget that nothing is permanent. And when things inevitably change, we feel lost, broken, and betrayed. Think about a flower. It blooms, spreads beauty, then withers away. You do not cry when a flower wilts, because you understand that this is its nature. But when things in our own lives fade, we resist. We say, this shouldn't be happening. But why not? Everything in nature changes. You are part of nature. Why should your life be any different? Let's take a simple example. Imagine you are planning a picnic. You have a perfect image in your mind, sunshine, fresh air, laughter. But when the day arrives, it rains. You feel disappointed. You think, this is not how it was supposed to be. But was the sun ever under your control? Was the weather ever in your hands? No. So why suffer over something you could never change? Now, imagine a different reaction. You see the rain and accept it. You laugh, adjust your plans, and enjoy the moment anyway. The situation is the same, but your experience is completely different. Why? Because you let go. You embraced what was, instead of resisting what wasn't. Life is a series of moments. Some are bright, some are dark. Some bring joy, some bring pain. But they all pass. The happiest moments fade. But so do the saddest. The things you love change. But so do the things you fear. When you understand this, you stop clinging. You stop suffering. You begin to flow. People often ask, how do I practice detachment? The answer is simple, awareness. Notice when you are holding on too tightly. Notice when your mind says, this must not change. Ask yourself, why am I afraid of letting go? Is it really loss that scares you? Or is it the idea of loss? Detachment is not about giving up. It is about seeing clearly. It is about living fully, loving deeply, but not being imprisoned by expectations. It is about appreciating what you have now, without fearing its loss. There is an old Zen story about a monk who carried a beautiful teacup. He loved the cup, admired its design, and used it every day. But he always reminded himself, this cup is already broken. He did not mean the cup was literally shattered, but that one day, it would be. Maybe it would slip from his hands. Maybe it would wear down with time. By accepting this truth, he never suffered when the cup was eventually lost. Because in his mind, he had already let go. This is the heart of detachment. Knowing that everything is temporary does not mean you cannot love. It means you love more deeply. It means you appreciate more fully. It means you stop wasting time worrying about things that are out of your hands. Right now, take a deep breath. Think about the things in your life that cause you stress. Are they things you can control? If yes, then act. If not, then let go. Do not waste your energy holding on to a rope that only burns you. Detachment does not mean living without joy. It means living with peace. It means seeing life as it is, not as you wish it to be. It means accepting change, embracing uncertainty, and understanding that true happiness is not found in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. Breath awareness, calming the mind through conscious breathing. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Feel the air moving through your nose, filling your lungs. Now slowly exhale, releasing everything that feels heavy inside you. Did you notice something? Just for that brief moment, your mind was here, in the present. You were not lost in the past or worrying about the future. You were simply breathing. Breathing is the most natural thing we do. From the moment we are born until the day we leave this world, our breath is always with us. Yet, we rarely pay attention to it. We take thousands of breaths every day, but how many do we truly notice? How many do we actually feel? The Buddha once said, when the mind is agitated, observe the breath. When the mind is at peace, observe the breath. Why did he say this? Because the breath is the key to the mind. It is like a bridge, connecting the body and the present moment. If you can control your breath, you can control your mind. And if you can control your mind, you can free yourself from stress and anxiety. Think about the last time you were anxious or afraid. Your breath became shallow, didn't it? Your chest felt tight. Your body tensed up. This is not a coincidence. When the mind is restless, the breath becomes restless. But here is the secret. It works both ways. When you slow down your breath, the mind slows down too. When you breathe deeply, you tell your body that everything is okay. Many people live their entire lives without ever truly experiencing a single breath. They rush from one task to another, always in a hurry, always thinking about something else. Even when they sit down to rest, their minds are still running. But right now, in this moment, you have a chance to change that. Breathe in deeply. Feel the air touching your nostrils. Follow it as it moves down into your lungs. Hold it for a second. Now, breathe out slowly. Feel the warmth of the air leaving your body. This simple act of noticing your breath is the beginning of awareness. And awareness is the key to freedom. When the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree seeking enlightenment, he did not look for answers outside himself. He did not search for peace in books or teachings. He simply observed his own breath. Inhale, exhale, again and again. And through this simple practice, he awakened to the truth. If you want to calm your mind, you do not need to escape to a quiet place. You do not need to change anything about your life. All you need to do is return to your breath. No matter where you are, no matter what is happening around you, your breath is always there. It is always with you, like a gentle friend, waiting to guide you back to the present. There was once a young monk who came to his master and said, "My mind is always restless. I cannot find peace." The master smiled and said, "Sit with me and breathe." The monk did as he was told. They sat in silence, breathing in and out, in and out. After some time, the master asked, "Where is your mind now?" The young monk opened his eyes and said, "It is here, with my breath." The master nodded. "Then you have already found your peace." This is the secret that so many people overlook. Peace is not something far away. It is not something you have to chase. It is always here, in your breath. But you must be willing to notice it. When you start paying attention to your breath, something beautiful happens. Your mind begins to slow down. Your thoughts become clearer. You start to feel lighter, calmer. The weight of the world seems to lift, even if just for a moment. Some people believe that meditation is difficult, that it requires special skills or years of training. But meditation is nothing more than breathing with awareness. You do not need to sit in a temple. You do not need to close your eyes. You only need to breathe, and to know that you are breathing. In the middle of a stressful day, stop for a moment. Take one deep breath, then another. Feel the tension leaving your body with every exhale. This is not just a practice. This is a way of life. The breath is a mirror. It reflects your inner state. When you are anxious, your breath is shallow. When you are angry, your breath is fast. When you are at peace, your breath is deep and steady. By learning to control your breath, you learn to control your emotions. And when you can control your emotions, nothing in this world can shake you. Many people search for peace outside themselves. They think they will find it in success, in relationships, in material things. But true peace is not found in any of these. True peace is found in a single breath, fully experienced, fully lived. If you ever feel overwhelmed, if you ever feel lost in the chaos of life, remember this: you do not need to run away. You do not need to change who you are. You only need to return to your breath. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, and let go. Let go of the past. Let go of the future. For this moment, just breathe. And in that simple act, you will find everything you have been looking for. Compassion and loving kindness, transforming stress into serenity. Sit with me for a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let everything settle. Now, think of someone you love deeply. A friend, a family member, someone who has been kind to you. Feel the warmth in your heart when you think of them. That feeling, pure, gentle, and peaceful, is the essence of compassion. But now, imagine someone who has hurt you. Someone who has been unkind. What happens? The warmth fades. Your body tenses. Your mind fills with emotions, anger, sadness, maybe even resentment. This is the weight we carry every day. This is the suffering we create within ourselves. Buddhism teaches that true peace is not found in holding on to pain, but in letting it go. Not just for others, but for yourself. Because when you hold anger, it burns within you, like fire in your hands. You don't punish the other person. You only harm yourself. Compassion is not weakness. It is not about letting people take advantage of you. It is strength. It is the power to look at the world, not with anger, not with resentment, but with understanding. Stress often comes from resistance. We resist people. We resist situations. We resist reality itself. This should not have happened. This should not have treated me this way. Life should be different. But life does not bend to our expectations. And the more we resist, the more we suffer. Compassion is the path to peace. When you let go of the fight, when you stop clinging to what should have been, you create space for healing. You allow yourself to breathe. You stop carrying the weight of the past and step into the freedom of the present. Loving kindness, or metta, is a practice that transforms not only how you feel but how you experience the world. Imagine if, instead of reacting with frustration, you responded with kindness. Imagine if, instead of carrying resentment, you could release it. Imagine the lightness of a mind unburdened by negativity. People often think kindness is something you give to others, but in truth, it is a gift you give yourself. When you hold anger, who suffers? When you dwell in resentment, who feels the pain? You do. But when you practice compassion, when you choose to see others with understanding instead of judgment, it is your heart that finds peace. Let's try something together. Close your eyes again. Picture yourself, just as you are, with all your struggles, all your worries. Now, silently say to yourself, "May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace." Feel those words. Let them sink in. Now, think of someone you love. Picture them in your mind. Repeat the same words for them. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. Now, take a deep breath. This is metta. This is the practice of loving kindness. Simple, powerful, and yet life-changing. But the hardest part is this: can you say it for someone who has hurt you? Can you wish happiness for someone who has caused you pain? This is where true transformation happens. Not in easy moments, but in difficult ones. Compassion does not mean forgetting. It does not mean ignoring harm. It means choosing peace over poison. It means setting yourself free. Buddhism teaches that everyone is suffering in some way. The person who hurt you, the person who frustrated you, even the stranger who was rude to you, they all carry their own burdens. Their actions come from their struggles, their fears, their pain. When you understand this, everything changes. You no longer see enemies. You see human beings, just like you. Then what happens when you let go of anger? You create space for something else: peace, joy, freedom. Imagine walking through life without resentment. Imagine facing challenges without stress. Imagine dealing with difficult people without letting them steal your peace. That is the power of compassion. It is not easy. It takes practice. But each time you choose kindness over anger, understanding over judgment, you take a step toward a lighter, freer mind. And with each step, stress loses its grip on you. Anxiety fades. You become unshakable, like a mountain standing tall against the wind. So, the next time someone upsets you, pause. Breathe. Before reacting, ask yourself, do I want to hold this anger? Or do I want to be free? The choice is always yours. The middle way, finding balance in a chaotic world. Balance. It is the secret to everything. The world moves between extremes, too much, too little, too fast, too slow. And so do we. One moment, we chase after pleasure, excitement, success. The next, we are drowning in exhaustion, stress, and disappointment. We swing like a pendulum, back and forth, never resting in the middle. Buddha discovered this long ago. He had lived as a prince, surrounded by every luxury. Then, he abandoned it all, choosing extreme hardship, starving himself, denying his body even the simplest comforts. But in both places, suffering remained. So he found another way, a path that avoided both indulgence and deprivation. He called it the middle way. Think about your own life. How often do you feel like you're being pulled in two directions? You work too much, then feel so drained that you do nothing at all. You try to be healthy, then find yourself binging on junk food after a long, stressful day. You push yourself too hard, then collapse into guilt and self-criticism when you fall short. This is the cycle. The mind loves extremes, but extremes never bring peace. The middle way is not about avoiding effort. It's not about doing nothing. It's about understanding that balance is the key to freedom. Look at nature. The river flows, not too fast, not too slow. The trees grow, not forcing, not resisting. The sun rises and sets, not too soon, not too late. Everything follows a rhythm, a balance. But we humans? We rush. We force. We demand. We exhaust ourselves. We are taught that happiness is in achieving more, pushing harder, never stopping. But too much effort leads to burnout. And yet, doing nothing also leads to suffering, laziness, regret, a sense of emptiness. Balance is walking the space between these two. Imagine a tightrope walker. If they lean too far to one side, they fall. If they don't move at all, they never reach the other side. The only way forward is steady, mindful balance. This is how we must walk through life. So how do we find balance? First, we must listen, not to the noise of the world, but to ourselves. When we are tired, we must rest. When we are restless, we must move. When we are anxious, we must slow down. When we are too still, we must take action. Life speaks to us, but we rarely listen. Next, we must let go of perfection. Many people think balance means getting everything exactly right. But balance is not rigid. It is fluid. Some days, you need more rest. Some days, you need more action. The key is adjusting, not forcing. Think of a musician tuning an instrument. If the strings are too tight, they snap. If they are too loose, they make no sound. The perfect note comes when there is just enough tension. Not too much, not too little. Life is the same. In our minds, balance means controlling everything, making sure nothing ever goes wrong. But true balance is not about control. It's about trust. Trusting that life moves in cycles, that pain passes, that happiness returns, that you do not need to hold everything so tightly. So ask yourself, where in my life am I pushing too hard? Where am I doing too little? Where am I holding on too tightly? Where am I afraid to move? There is no perfect answer. No one-size-fits-all formula. The middle way is not about following a strict rule. It's about paying attention, about noticing when things feel off, about correcting gently, not with force. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you are learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you wobble, leaning too much to one side, then the other. You fall. You get up. You try again. Over time, something shifts. You stop overthinking. Your body understands the rhythm. You no longer fear falling because you know how to adjust. This is balance. Life is the same. At first, you struggle. You go too far in one direction, then in the other. You make mistakes. But slowly, you learn. You feel when things are off, and you adjust. You stop fearing failure because you trust yourself to find your way back. The middle way is not just about work or rest. It is about how we approach everything, our emotions, our relationships, our expectations. Think of anger. Some people suppress it, pretending they never feel it. Others explode, letting it consume them. Both bring suffering. The middle way? Recognizing the anger, understanding it, then letting it pass without harm. Think of love. Some people cling, afraid of being alone. Others push away, afraid of being hurt. Both are extreme. The middle way? Loving without attachment, caring without fear. And think of happiness. Some people chase after it endlessly, thinking they can capture it. Others reject it, believing they don't deserve it. But happiness, like everything, comes and goes. The middle way? Appreciating joy when it is here, and not fearing its absence when it is gone. Everything in life moves in cycles. Day and night, high and low, effort and rest, gain and loss. When we fight these cycles, we suffer. But when we flow with them, we find peace. The middle way is not a place. It is a practice. A way of living, of thinking, of being. It is the gentle path between too much and too little, between fear and recklessness, between attachment and avoidance. It is walking forward without forcing, letting go without giving up, trying without exhausting yourself. Right now, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel the balance inside you. The space between inhale and exhale. The stillness between thoughts. The calm between action and rest. This is the middle way. And this is where peace begins. Acceptance. Letting go of resistance and finding freedom. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your body, filling your lungs. Now let it go. Just like that, the breath comes and goes. You do not try to hold on to it. You do not resist it. You accept it as it is. This is the way of life. But in daily life, do we live like this? Do we accept things as they are? Or do we fight, resist, struggle? When something painful happens, do we let it pass like the breath? Or do we hold on to it, refusing to let go? Most suffering does not come from the situation itself. It comes from our resistance to it. Imagine standing in a river. The water is flowing naturally, but you try to push against it. The harder you resist, the more exhausted you become. The river does not stop. It does not care how hard you fight. It simply flows. And in the end, you are the only one suffering. Life is the same. Things happen. People change. Situations come and go. But instead of moving with the flow, we resist. We want things to be different. We want people to act a certain way. We want life to follow our expectations. And when it doesn't, we feel pain. We suffer not because life is difficult, but because we refuse to accept it as it is. Buddhism teaches that the key to peace is acceptance. Not giving up, not surrendering, but fully accepting life as it comes. The good, the bad, the unexpected. All of it. Because when you stop resisting, you stop suffering. Think about this. When it rains, do you get angry at the sky? When winter comes, do you fight against the cold? No. You take an umbrella. You wear a coat. You accept what is. But when it comes to life, we do the opposite. We argue with reality. We say, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't fair. Why me? But reality does not change because of our complaints. It remains as it is. Imagine you are stuck in traffic. You have two choices. You can get angry, honk your horn, curse the situation. Or you can take a deep breath, accept that you cannot control it, and use the time to listen to music, reflect, or simply be present. The traffic is the same, but your experience of it is completely different. This is the power of acceptance. When you let go of resistance, you find peace even in difficult situations. You stop wasting energy fighting what you cannot change. And you start living with ease. Some people think acceptance means weakness. That if you accept a bad situation, you are allowing it to continue. But that is not true. Acceptance does not mean you do nothing. It means you see things clearly. You understand what you can control and what you cannot. And then you act from a place of wisdom, not from a place of struggle. Imagine holding a rope tied to a heavy rock. You keep pulling, trying to move the rock. Your hands are bleeding. Your arms are aching. But the rock does not move. You can keep struggling, or you can let go. The moment you release the rope, the pain stops. The struggle ends. The rock is still there, but it no longer controls you. This is what happens when you accept life. You stop pulling on things you cannot change. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable. And suddenly, you are free. So ask yourself, what are you resisting in life? What are you refusing to accept? Is it a mistake you made in the past? Is it the way someone treated you? Is it something unfair that happened to you? Whatever it is, look at it clearly. See it for what it is. And then, let it go. When you accept something, it loses its power over you. The moment you stop fighting it, it stops controlling you. This does not mean you approve of everything that happens. It means you stop letting it destroy your peace. A Zen story tells of two monks walking near a river. They see a woman struggling to cross. The older monk picks her up and carries her across. Hours later, the younger monk says, "Why did you carry that woman? We are monks. We are not supposed to touch women." The older monk smiles and says, "I put her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her? How many things are you still carrying? How many past hurts, regrets, disappointments? How much energy are you wasting on things that are already over? Life is always moving forward. The present moment is always waiting for you. But if you are stuck in resistance, you will never be free. So next time something happens that you do not like, pause. Instead of reacting, take a breath. Ask yourself, can I change this? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, let it go. Because in the end, peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from accepting life as it is. Right now, meditation, the gateway to a stress-free mind. Sit down. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Let go of the world for just a moment. There is nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Just this moment. Just your breath. Just you, as you are. Meditation is not about escaping life. It is about fully living it. Most people think meditation is difficult, that it requires years of practice. But the truth is, meditation is simple. It is as simple as breathing. As simple as sitting still. As simple as watching your thoughts without being carried away by them. Right now, your mind may feel like a storm, restless, chaotic, full of worries and stress. But beneath every storm, the ocean is calm. Meditation is not about stopping the storm. It is about diving deep, where the water is still, where nothing can shake you. Stress and anxiety come from the mind's endless chatter. Thoughts about the past. Thoughts about the future. Thoughts that repeat, over and over again. But have you ever stopped to notice these thoughts? Have you ever just watched them, like clouds passing in the sky? The moment you start watching, something magical happens. The thoughts lose their power. They come and go, but they no longer control you. You begin to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the one watching. This is meditation. The simple act of noticing. The simple act of being here, now. Many people say, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. But this is like saying, I can't take a bath because I'm too dirty. The more restless your mind, the more you need meditation. It is not about having no thoughts. It is about learning to sit with them, without fear, without resistance. Close your eyes again. Listen. There is silence beneath the noise. There is peace beneath the stress. You don't have to find it. It is already here. Meditation does not need a special place or a perfect time. You can do it anywhere. Sitting at your desk. Walking in a park. Even while washing dishes. Meditation is simply awareness. Awareness of the breath. Awareness of the body. Awareness of this moment. Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, it remains cloudy. But if you let it sit, the mud settles. The water becomes clear. This is your mind. Always stirred by thoughts, always restless. But if you sit still, if you just breathe, clarity comes. Many people seek peace in the world. In success. In relationships. In possessions. But peace is not out there. It is within you. Meditation is the key that unlocks it. Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. These words hold a great truth. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you possess, if your mind is restless, you will never be at peace. But even in the simplest life, if your mind is still, you will feel limitless joy. People think meditation means sitting for hours with a blank mind. But that is not true. Meditation is not about emptying the mind. It is about noticing what is already there. It is about becoming friends with your own thoughts, your own emotions, even the difficult ones. If sadness arises, watch it. If anger comes, observe it. If anxiety appears, do not push it away. See it clearly. And then, let it pass. Everything comes and goes. Nothing stays forever. Meditation teaches you this truth. There will be days when meditation feels easy. There will be days when it feels impossible. This is normal. The key is to keep going. Even on the days when your mind is loud. Even on the days when sitting still feels like a struggle. Those are the days you need it the most. Some people say, I don't have time to meditate. But meditation is not about time. It is about presence. Even one deep breath, taken with full awareness, is meditation. Even one moment of stillness, in the middle of a busy day, is enough. Try it now. Breathe in. Feel the air entering your body. Breathe out. Let go of everything for just this second. See? That is meditation. That is peace. And it is always available to you. With practice, something amazing happens. You stop reacting to everything. The small things that used to stress you no longer shake you. The worries that once controlled you lose their grip. You become like a mountain, calm, steady, unmoved by the storms of life. Meditation is not a quick fix. It is a journey. But every step brings you closer to yourself. Every breath brings you deeper into peace. And one day, you will realize, the peace you were searching for was always here. Inside you. Waiting. Non-self, understanding the illusion of the ego. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you wish. Now, ask yourself, who are you? A name? A body? A collection of memories? Are you your thoughts? Your emotions? Your past? The mind quickly answers, I am me. I am this person. I have my likes, my dislikes, my dreams, my fears. But if you look closer, deeper, something strange happens. The more you search for this self, the harder it becomes to find. Where is it? You may say, I am my body. But the body is always changing. The cells you had years ago are gone. The body you had as a child is no longer here. If your body changes completely over time, then is that really you? Maybe you say, I am my thoughts. But thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. A thought appears, stays for a while, then disappears. A new one takes its place. If you were truly your thoughts, wouldn't you have control over them? But they come uninvited. They disappear without permission. If you were your thoughts, wouldn't you be able to stop thinking it will? Or perhaps you say, I am my memories. But memories fade. Some change. Some are forgotten entirely. And if you lose your memory, does that mean you no longer exist? The Buddha taught that the idea of a permanent, unchanging self is an illusion. There is no solid I that remains the same from birth to death. What we call self is just a collection of experiences, thoughts, and sensations constantly shifting, always moving. Like a river that never stops flowing, we are never the same from one moment to the next. But if this is true, then why do we feel so strongly that we are separate individuals? Why do we cling so tightly to this idea of me and mine? The answer is attachment. We attach ourselves to labels, to identities, to stories about who we think we are. We say, I am this kind of person. I have this kind of life. And when something threatens this image, we feel fear, anger, or sadness. Think about how much suffering comes from this attachment. Someone insults you. You feel hurt because your mind says, they attacked me. You fail at something. You feel shame because your mind says, I am a failure. Someone praises you. You feel happy because your mind says, I am important. But what if you could see beyond this illusion? What if you could live without constantly protecting this fragile sense of self? Imagine walking through a forest. You see a tree. You don't think, that tree is not good enough. That tree should be taller. That tree should be more successful. No, you simply see it as it is. The tree has no name. It does not try to prove itself. It does not compare itself to other trees. It just exists. Now, what if you could see yourself that way? What if, instead of being trapped in thoughts of me and mine, you could simply be? This is the freedom of understanding non-self. It does not mean that you disappear. It does not mean that you stop feeling. It simply means that you stop clinging to the idea of a fixed identity. You stop holding on to the past as if it defines you. You stop worrying about the future as if it controls you. You become like the river, flowing, moving, changing, yet always present. Many people fear this idea. They think, if I let go of myself, won't I lose everything? Won't I stop caring? But the opposite is true. When you no longer cling to the idea of a separate self, your heart opens. You begin to see the world more clearly. You feel connected to everything, not just trapped inside your own little world. Think about how much stress comes from defending the ego, the need to be right, the fear of looking foolish, the desire to be recognized, respected, admired. These are all burdens we carry because we believe in a fixed self. But what if you could put down that weight? When you let go of the illusion of self, you no longer take everything so personally. If someone criticizes you, you don't react with anger, you simply observe it, knowing it does not define you. If you make a mistake, you don't sink into guilt. You learn and move on. Imagine the peace that comes with this understanding. You are not a fixed thing. You are not a name, a job, a title. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your future worries. You are a moment, always changing, always new. This is the path to true freedom. When the Buddha reached enlightenment, he saw that suffering comes from attachment, to desires, to ideas, to the illusion of self. And he saw that liberation comes from letting go. Let go of who you think you are. Let go of who you think you need to be. Just be. Right here. Right now. Gratitude and contentment, the path to lasting happiness. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Look around you. What do you see? The sky, the trees, the people around you, the things you own. Your life, as it is right now. Do you feel content? Or is your mind searching for something more? Most people spend their lives chasing money, chasing success, chasing happiness. They believe that once they have more wealth, more achievements, more possessions, then they will finally be happy. But have you ever noticed? The more you get, the more you want. You reach one goal, and immediately, another one appears. The happiness is temporary, and then the hunger returns. This is the endless cycle of desire. Buddhism teaches a different a way that is simple but powerful, a way that frees you from this cycle. It is the path of gratitude and contentment. Gratitude is not about having more. It is about seeing what is already here. It is about shifting your focus from what is missing to what is present. Right now, in this very moment, you have something to be grateful for. The breath in your lungs, the warmth of the sun, the kindness of a friend. Even the smallest things, clean water, fresh air, a safe place to sleep, are gifts. But when was the last time you truly appreciated them? Think about this. If you woke up tomorrow with only the things you were grateful for today, what would you have left? Most people go through life without noticing the simple miracles around them. They take things for granted. They complain about what they lack. They compare themselves to others. And because of this, they suffer. They feel empty. They believe happiness is somewhere in the future, waiting for them. But it is not. It is here, right now. If only they would see it. Contentment is the twin of gratitude. While gratitude is about appreciating what you have, contentment is about understanding that what you have is enough. This does not mean you should stop growing or improving. It means you stop believing that your happiness depends on something you do not have. A person who is never content will always suffer. Even if they are rich, they will feel poor. Even if they have success, they will feel like a failure. Even if they're loved, they will feel lonely. Why? Because their mind is always focused on what is missing. Imagine two people sitting in the same room. One looks around and sees nothing special. They feel bored, restless, unhappy. The other person looks around and notices the gentle sound of the wind outside, the comfort of their chair, the presence of a loved one nearby. They feel peace, even in the same situation. What is the difference between these two people? Their mind. One is caught in desire. The other is living in gratitude. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment. We attach ourselves to desires, to expectations, to things we believe we need. And when reality does not match our desires, we feel pain. But when you practice gratitude and contentment, you break free from this trap. You stop waiting for happiness to come from outside. You start finding it within. Take a moment. Think about your own life. What are the small things you have never truly appreciated? What moments of joy have you ignored because you were too busy looking for something else? The smile of a loved one. The taste of your morning tea. The feeling of fresh air on your face. These are the things that make life beautiful. But only if you notice them. People often ask, how can I be happy? But the real question is, how can I stop making myself unhappy? The answer is simple. Stop searching. Stop comparing. Stop thinking that happiness is something you must chase. Instead, open your eyes to what is already here. A Zen story tells of a traveler who came across a wise monk. The traveler asked, Master, what is the secret to happiness? The monk smiled and handed him a cup of tea. The traveler looked at him, confused. The monk said, Drink your tea. The traveler took a sip, and the monk asked, How does it taste? The traveler replied, It is warm, calming, perfect. The monk nodded and said, That is the secret. Happiness is in this very sip, but only if you pay attention. How many cups of tea have you drunk without tasting them? How many sunsets have you ignored because you were too busy thinking? How many moments of joy have you let slip away? Gratitude is not a practice. It is a way of seeing. It is a shift in perspective. It is the realization that this moment, right now, is enough. Contentment does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you stop believing that your dreams are the only path to happiness. It means you wake up each day and say, I have enough. I am enough. If you live with gratitude, every day becomes a gift. If you live with contentment, you will never feel lacking. And if you combine both, you will discover the happiness that was always within you. So, take a deep breath. Feel the present moment. And remember, you don't need more to be happy. You just need to see what is already here. Living in the now, a roadmap to a peaceful life. You have walked this path with patience. You have listened, reflected, and perhaps even practiced. And now, we arrive at the final step, bringing it all together. Take a moment. Breathe. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. No past. No future. Just now. This moment is the only one that truly exists. The only one that ever will. So, After all that we have learned, the question remains, how do we truly live in the now? How do we make this a way of life, not just something we hear and forget? The answer is simple. You already know it. You have felt it in quiet moments, in deep breaths, in the stillness between thoughts. You just have to remember it again and again. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment. We cling to things, to ideas, to identities, to control. But nothing stays the same. Nothing is permanent. And when we hold on too tightly, we suffer. So let go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the stories your mind keeps repeating. Let go of the idea that happiness is somewhere in the future. It is here, right now, waiting for you to notice it. Think about this. How many days have you spent worrying about things that never even happened? How many nights have you lost to regrets that can never be changed? And how much of your life have you truly lived, completely awake and present? You don't need to wait for peace. You don't need to fix yourself first. The mind will tell you, just one more thing, just one more goal, just one more achievement, and then I will be happy. But that moment never comes. It keeps running ahead, always out of reach. Happiness is not in the future. It is not something you will find one day. It is already here. But you must stop chasing and simply be. Right now, listen. What sounds do you hear? The rustling of leaves? The hum of life around you? The rise and fall of your own breath? This is life happening in real time. This is where peace lives. You have everything you need inside you. There is nothing missing, nothing broken. Just a mind that sometimes forgets how to be still. When you wake up tomorrow, pause before reaching for your phone. Feel the morning air. Listen to the silence before the world starts moving. That moment is your doorway into the present. Step through it. When you eat, taste the food. Not just as something to fill your stomach, but as an experience. The texture, the warmth, the simple joy of nourishment. That is mindfulness in action. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. The connection between you and the earth. The movement of your body, the rhythm of your steps. When you listen, truly listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Don't let your mind wander. Be with the person in front of you. Hear them. See them. And when difficult emotions arise, don't fight them. Don't push them away. Just observe. Watch how they come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. Life is not about running towards something or running away. It is about standing still and seeing things as they truly are. If you ever feel lost, return to your breath. It is always with you. It is the bridge between body and mind, between stress and peace. Just one deep breath can bring you back to now. This is what Buddhism teaches. Not escape, not avoidance, but presence. Being fully here, fully alive. Now, before we end, let's take one more deep breath together. Inhale. Hold it for a moment. And exhale. This journey does not end here. It begins here. Every moment is a new chance to wake up, to let go, to live fully. You don't need anything more than what you already have. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If this journey has helped you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps spread these teachings to more people who need them. And don't forget, drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us how this series has helped you. We would love to hear your experience. Now go, not with a heavy heart, but with a light one. You are free. The present moment is yours. Live in it.